You ever have one of those nights where you think, I'm just having one drink, and then suddenly the bartender knows your name and your life story? Yeah, well, we've all been there. Luckily, now there is Z-Biotics, pre-alcohol prebiotic drink, the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. That's right. Scientists with actual PhDs invented this thing to tackle those tough, rough mornings after drinking. Go to zbiotics.com/random and use code RANDOM for 15% off your first order. A men's underwear brand engineered for performance, built for all-day comfort, and crafted with men's health in mind. You have no idea how soft these things are. I'm holding them, as you can see, and I can, oh, wow, that is nice. And I can see that you see these things feel amazing. Go to wonderballsusa.com and use code RANDOM for 30% off your first purchase. Shipping is always free. Isn't it time you feel wonderful where it counts? Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. You can feel great about what you're putting into your body since Nutrafol hair growth supplements are backed by peer-reviewed studies and NSF content certified. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code RANDOM. That embarrasses the famous girl.
Yeah, that's
and I was like,
good.
whoa, I cannot put Nicole Kidman through this. No, I'm kidding.
Was a great stick man.
I just want to have another reason to use the word stick man.
It's a
which
great
I've
word.
never used and never heard, but of course I love. How are you?
Good to see you, man.
I haven't seen you since the Improv.
I know.
And I used to see you all the time in my Improv days.
And politically incorrect days.
Yeah, but I didn't see you there. I mean,
Right.
because you were, what were you? I was trying to figure this out. Joanne and Mark, you are not your real parents.
No,
but
Claudia
your sister
is my half-sister.
half-sister.
Joanne was married to my father before I was born.
Okay, this is Mark Lano, who was the partner of the Bud Friedman, so they owned the Improv together.
Yes.
So you were like scion of the Improv dynasty.
Yes.
And
When I was a kid.
You were the Pauly Shore of the Improv.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
But did better.
No disrespect to Pauly, but
No
yeah.
disrespect, but you've had a very estimable movie career.
Mm-hmm.
Pauly had some huge hit movies. Let's not.
Pauly, yeah, the Wheeze, man. The MTV days are iconic.
To you, perhaps. I can't, not to. I'm a different generation.
But he was what he was doing was.
He was Adam Sandler level, but not for too long.
No.
But look, in show business, very few things last a long time. Knock wood. I've been on 33 years, so
Crazy.
Crazy, yeah. But that's a rarity. But no,
Yeah.
he had a huge. What were the movies like? One was an army movie.
Pauly's?
Yeah, they reminded me of like Abbott and Costello movies.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Go into the army.
Yeah, it was like just throw him in anything. But he was, Pauly, Pauly.
Biosphere, wasn't that one
Yes,
where they
yes.
went to a biosphere and there's
Yes.
always hot chicks?
Yes, chicks
I mean,
and-
it was the era of like so many like dumb guy like Beavis and Butthead
Right.
and Ted and
Right.
what's Ted and the Keanu Reeves is
Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted and
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
Like America could not get enough
Yes.
of pairs of dumbass
Right.
guys.
How could you team up like which team them up like that? Yeah, they should make movies like that now because they're simple, they're cheap, and they seem like those kinds of like simple, cheap, dumb comedies.
Yeah, I mean, the R-rated comedy, they Naked Gun.
They fucked it up. They fucked the R-rated comedy up.
How do you feel about it?
No, the Naked Gun I liked, the remake, the Liam Neeson.
Right.
But the R-rated comedy went out with cancel culture.
Yeah, but don't you think there's a different vibe now? Aren't we into a different? I thought the vibe is different.
I don't think the vibe is different.
You don't?
I think
You're right. Woke is not dead.
it ain't dead. And
Right.
every little move you make, every step you take, if you screw up, they'll jump on you. And We all love all those R-rated comedies, all the Judd comedies, all the Seth Rogen comedies, all the old school and the and they won't make them. And
Farrelly Brothers.
Awesome.
You know, which very politically incorrect.
Yep.
Except for the one I so love, I just watched it again.
The Oscar film?
Green Book.
Yes.
That Peter Farrelly made.
Yes.
Which is not at all like his. That's an adult movie. I think it won the Oscar.
Yeah, it won something.
And then the woke shit on it because it's a movie that they should love. That 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they would have like come all over it because it's about racism and has all the right moves, and you know the black guy is way smarter than the white guy.
Yeah.
It's like everything you should love about it as a liberal, but it was directed by a white guy, so it had to be bad. You know, like they didn't all say that, but that's definitely what the New York Times said that.
They're doing a movie now that I wanted to be in, but there really was nothing. They're doing a movie called I Play Rocky, about the making of Rocky. So there's an actor playing Sylvester Stallone before he's Rocky, and that whole story of how he sold the script.
How he held on to the script when he was living like in his car, and they were offering him $300,000 for someone else to play it. Imagine the balls to say, you know what, I'm destitute, and I'm still gonna hold out for me playing this part.
It's like a Rocky story. In the Rocky movie.
That's better than the Rocky story.
And the script, because that's my movie. So I read that script and I was like, holy shit. And they were like, you know, they're in the scenes and there's a whole relationship with his father. Because did you see the documentary, the Stallone documentary on Netflix?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of that, you know, stuff that, you know, he revealed about the dysfunction with his father and the sort of wanting the...
I love him. I'm watching, I'm almost done with all of Tulsa King. Have you ever watched Tulsa?
Of course.
It's definitely a ripoff of that Linda I never get the name of it. The one Stevie Van Zandt did. I think it was the first series on Netflix, and it's about a mafia guy who goes, he's a fish out of water.
Yeah.
In that case, Sweden. In this case, Tulsa.
Yes.
Tulsa.
Yes.
But it's a great, you know, fish out of water movies are great.
And it's simple.
It's
basic.
It's a perfect pairing, Stallone and Tyler Sheridan, because not that he writes every word of it. He didn't even put his name on he puts his name on so many scripts. I'm like, this guy could not even be up this many hours writing this many scripts. But it's his style, and it's, you know, and Stallone, these guys, you know, it's perfect for before you go to bed because. You know, is it going to challenge you? No. And I don't want to be challenged before I go to bed. I want to watch TV.
I agree. I totally agree.
Not always, but like sometimes.
I don't want to be challenged before I go to bed. I don't want to be provoked, especially now. You know, I was talking to your producers about like the late night stuff, and because I was saying, you know, because I had saw Woody Allen on the chair, and I was like, Woody sat in this chair and all that stuff, and you know, the Kimmel and all that stuff. For me, like the late night stuff is changed so much, even since when I first met you, like the 80s and the 90s. Carson, they lull you to sleep.
Night and day.
But now, I think you should even go back to lulling people to sleep even more because we're on our phone all day. We're stimulated all day. We're arguing all day. We're on the, you know, we're watching the news all day. So even more so now, late night TV, lull me to sleep. We don't need any provocative shit. We've been provoked all day. We need, you know, jokes, light jokes, skits, and goofy shit, and put me to sleep. And that's why I think that those guys on, you know, the politics at night, we don't need it. We've seen it all day.
I remember I was in a meeting when I first got politically incorrect, and I'm, you know, fairly young and never had my own show and late night, and they're explaining me some of the things about late night. And I said, such a stupid thing, because they said, you know, it depends a lot on when you're on a network. I was on ABC, Comedy Central, then ABC for 6 years. And of course, you have to, each individual market in the country has the option to show the network. It's a network show, which they offer to their stations, to their affiliates, what they call affiliate. They're affiliated stations. There's like 200 of them around the country. Now, the network itself owns the big ones. They own Chicago and New York and LA, but they don't own Tulsa.
Right.
There's a guy in Tulsa, and if he wants to put on Politically Incorrect, he will. And if he wants to put on reruns of Dynamite,
right,
he'll do that.
Right.
Or he can put it on when it's on a time when it's not really supposed to be on. It was supposed to be on after Nightline.
Right.
So they're explaining all that, and the guy says, but you know, after 11 o'clock, every half hour, you lose half the audience. And I said, oh my God, why? And he went, because they go to sleep. Okay,
Right.
moron, what do you think we lose
Right.
it? But it's true. At 11, you have 50 million people watching. At 11:30, you have 25 million.
Right.
And at midnight, you have 12.
Right.
And at 12:30,
And
you
it
have 6. I
declines.
mean, people go to sleep.
What was your take on the whole thing now that the dust has cleared? Because you know, as a comedian, as a shit talker, as a provocateur, and somebody who's in the business of television, and you know all these people, like, what was your sort of take on that situation now that the
Well,
dust has cleared? I feel like I'm interviewing you.
You can. It's not an interview. You know, I was forthright on my show about supporting Jimmy, also saying I didn't agree with what he said because it was just wrong.
I agree.
I was very adamant that he has the right to be wrong. 2 points I really wanted to make. One, he wasn't attacking Charlie Kirk. There was no insult of Charlie Kirk, which is what they're all riled up about. He was saying the guy who shot him was probably on your team, MAGA. I said, that's bullshit. We don't know these, and I did a whole editorial about the fact that most of these killers of the recent variety, you go through their manifestos and shit, it's not even about politics. They're nihilists. They don't believe in anything. They could be. Look, I mean, was he probably rebelling against his MAGA family? Probably, that's more likely. So what Jimmy said was just not, to me, tracking accurately. To me, it's a guy who, you know, and this is, look, Jimmy apparently doesn't like me too much anymore because he thanked everybody but me, and I was adamant about supporting him that week and the next week. Like I said, I can't lie and say I think what he said was accurate, but I was adamant that he shouldn't be thrown off the air. He did a great show. I went on and on. Okay, you know, my problem with him and hosts like that, quite frankly, they're all quite similar in this regard, is that they're ideologically captured by one side. It's just not what I do or what I'm doing. And there's a reason why half the country feels insulted by them and has turned off to them, because it's just one very predictable point of view. And this proves that it's often not completely accurate, because that was not really a smart thing to say, that this guy who shot Charlie Kirk was on the MAGA team, because that's just something that the blue sky crowd told themselves. And if you're that far in the bubble where you don't really see both sides and you don't really see the
Completely.
you're going to believe that. You're going to believe that blue sky point of view. Oh, a bad thing happened. It must be coming from the other team.
And for me, like, it was 4 days afterwards, and as a public person of any level, to make light, point fingers, it's a sick person.
Right.
Sick person, sick person, sick person. That's it. Because all of us, especially in this day and age, you know, should be humbled by that. Because that could be anybody. That could be anybody in this day and age. Because you don't know how you're provoking people and all that stuff. And to even make light of it 4 days after, point fingers, joke, not a joke, MAGA. No, it shouldn't be discussed. It was 4 days afterward. And I like Jimmy too, but I just didn't.
Well,
I don't think that's funny at all.
Wait, let's be clear. Like I said at the beginning of this, he wasn't making fun of Charlie Kirk. He was making jokes at MAGA's expense.
Right.
That's very different. And even if he was, that would be abhorrent, and the people who did it abhorrent, but not illegal.
No, I get it.
And they
totally
tried
agree.
to make it illegal. They basically said we have a blasphemy law in this country. That's not right either. This isn't Pakistan.
I agree.
And he's not the Prophet Muhammad.
I agree. I agree.
Peace and blessings be upon him.
Yeah, Pete, yeah. Right. You got to say that.
So you must be in love with the new mayor that you're going to have. I can only imagine what you've been ranting about that guy.
I can't even believe that he is the front runner to become the mayor of New York City right now?
Well, you better get used to it.
Do you think? I feel like right now, there's a little bit of energy towards Cuomo winning. Curtis has to drop out, and I feel like there's a chance. I don't think it's a landslide. He's acting like he's the mayor. He's walking around like he's won this thing already. And
Well,
every day that goes by, and he's talking to the press every single day, he's getting more and more bold and more honest with the shit that he's saying. And it's offensive.
well, no, I think quite the opposite. I think he's walking back some of the things. He needs to walk back some of the things. Like, for a long time, they were trying to get him to say something about support. I don't remember what his original comment was, but he certainly did not condemn the idea or the phrase globalize the intifada.
Right.
Okay, so I think he has walked that back.
He hasn't walked that back specifically. And today,
Well, he walked it back in the way
he double talks sideways with that smiley bullshit.
Well, that's called being a politician.
But he's got it down.
So do many politicians.
I know.
He's not that different in that respect.
I know. He was asked, are you for Hamas laying down their guns? The lady asked him that. Are you for Hamas laying down their guns? And he's like fucking talking about like the sky is green and blue and da-da-da-da, but you're clear on the fact that you will support Bibi Netanyahu being arrested if he comes to New York, but you won't say that Hamas, yes, should lay down their guns. This guy is so full of fucking shit. He's so full of fucking shit. It's baffling to me that we've gotten this far, but this is where we are. He is so full of shit. And when you interview somebody, a politician, and you ask them a straight question like that, do you want Hamas to lay down their guns? And they don't give you an answer. Don't you think you should be like, you're not answering the question?
I do. That's what I do. That's why so many people won't do my show. That's why the Clintons have never been on my show. That's why AOC, and I invite these people all the time, every week. I could go down to Kamala Harris, never did the show. I mean, these are people, and I voted for her. These are people who should not be. It took me 8 years to get Obama to do the show and a petition. These are people who should do my show, but yes, I'm not. Katie Porter was in the news because she was angry at a reporter for asking a follow-up question, and my reaction was,
right,
they should do that more.
Right.
They don't ask follow-up questions because they just smile and nod and go on to the next one because they're not, some of them are, of course, very seasoned and smart people in journalism, but there's a lot of people who are out of their depth. I'm not, never have been. My father was in news. It was in my blood when I was a kid. It's how I was as a comedian, mostly a political stand-up comedian. I'm not out of my depth. I know my shit. I don't have to look up, whether Iran is Sunni or Shiite,
Are you going to get him on your show, Mandami?
Well, again,
Zoran the moron?
We ask...
Zoran, come on, Bill Maher.
Well...
Go on Bill Maher, Zoran the moron, because when you get asked the questions, you're going to get a follow-up question.
Right, well, that's probably...
Get that fucking guy on your show.
That probably is not going to help.
You don't think that's going to help?
The way you phrased it, no. My guessing is that's not going to induce some. But I don't have to beg, and I can't subpoena them.
I don't think he's going to, because he thinks he's going to win. Why would he come on?
We have already invited him every week. If it was going to happen, it would have happened.
Yeah. He ain't coming on. Why would he come on? Things are going good.
Exactly. Because I would ask the follow-up question, and I am not out of my depth.
Yeah.
And I do know what Iran is.
Yeah.
And every place in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I love history, and I know lots about the Middle East. And I hope the peace plan here takes hold. I see that, like, lots of people give Trump credit, and I am one of them. But even like the Clintons came out and said, lots of people who but Fetterman, you can count on him to be honest. But I think even Schumer and I think the New York Times, Time Magazine had he didn't like the picture. I don't blame him. It was kind of a low blow picture. But the title on the front of Time Magazine is like his big triumph or something. So
150%.
And he knows me very well now and knows where I stand on lots of stuff he does that I do not like and no one should like. But when he does something right, I think it is deranged, Trump derangement syndrome, not to give credit where credit is due. It's just the fact. Everybody tried to have things changed. That's true. Maybe the time was just right. But I think no. I think that the situation is in many ways worse than it ever was, and he just tried a different way. It's just he's not a professional diplomat. We know that.
But what is?
And that it just worked better. I mean, like everybody's talking the real estate guys. Yeah, you know what? Real estate guys. Whatever. They got it done in a way. No, it's not done. But they
got those people home that are alive.
Well, what they did was they here's how they changed the game. And this goes back to the first Trump administration. Instead of dealing with only the Palestinians, they said, let's just, stop putting them at the center of this. Let's have Israel make deals with other countries. I mean, Palestine was never actually, I hate to break it to you, some people who think otherwise, the useful idiots on the college campuses wearing the keffiyehs, but it was never a political entity. There was never a separate country called Palestine, okay, that was occupied. That's not history. But there are other countries like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates and Qatar and Bahrain and Morocco, and let's make a deal with the actual countries.
Right.
And they did that.
Yep.
And that's where they're going with this thing.
Yep.
And then the other countries will take it, hopefully what will happen is that the Arab countries will take it upon themselves to fix the Palestinian problem more. Israel has never been able to have a partner with the Palestinians because it was always people like Hamas who just wanted to kill them. How do you negotiate with people whose negotiating position is you all die? You all die. That's part of our plan A.
They don't want Israel to exist,
Yeah, from the river to the sea. What does that mean? It means we have it all, and you either die or what? Move to Arizona? I mean, it's ridiculous. Right. But you can partner with Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Things are changing in that part of the world.
It has to.
Yes, it has. Well, it doesn't have to. It's been going on for centuries and centuries and centuries, and it will. Lots of stuff will go on. But, I mean, I also will say this about Trump that is pretty interesting. Of course, he's beloved in Israel like nobody ever has been, for good reason. He did more for Israel than any other president. And he didn't play the silly game that the other presidents do, like, well, we have to be even, Steven. Maybe who knows who's right? The people who treasure life or the people who treasure death? Right. And he was like, where would you live, Ramallah or Tel Aviv? You'd live in Tel Aviv. Right. A society that resembles yours and has shared values. Not letting women be free to dress as they want and covering their faces and stuff. That's not our values. No. Are you kidding? So he said, no, I'm with Israel.
Period.
Let's see how this works out. I'm with Western values.
Right.
I think democracy is better than theocracy. Now, we can also go into the discussion about how the horrible things he's actually doing to democracy in this country. But for this discussion just about the Middle East, how about this? The Jews love him more than any president ever. And the Arabs do too.
Right.
That's quite a hat trick.
Right.
You got to give it up for that one.
Right.
That's quite a trick.
Right.
That the Saudi Arabia, they all, they kind of relate on you like gold, everything?
Right.
I like gold, everything.
Right.
And also the Trump doctrine is really, we don't judge you. You know what? You cut the head off a journalist. Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but, I'm just not going to judge. Now, you can say that's right or wrong, but here's the facts. Biden wouldn't talk to him for a year after that and then had to. He went over there and he fist bumped the guy who did it, the guy who said, we're not talking to you anymore, because it's Saudi Arabia. You can't ignore them.
You can't.
They're the counterweight to Shiite Iran, and they are the people who have the oil.
Yep.
So you can't not deal. So, again,
it's a fucking miracle that he got those people home, the 20 people home.
It's
unbelievable.
Well,
and I'll tell you something, as crass as I've been on him, his first term.
You ever have one of those nights where you think, I'm just having one drink, and then suddenly the bartender knows your name and your life story? Yeah, well, we've all been there. Luckily, now there is Z-Biotics, pre-alcohol prebiotic drink, the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. That's right. Scientists with actual PhDs invented this thing to tackle those tough, rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's the buildup of that byproduct, not dehydration, that makes the next day feel like you've been hit by a truck. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break that byproduct down. Z-Biotics works so well that the Club Random producers have made it part of their pre-game routine before a night out. So this holiday season, make the most of every toast, tailgate, and touchdown. Just don't forget Z-Biotics. Go to zbiotics.com/random and use code RANDOM for 15% off your first order. It's even backed by a 100% money-back guarantee, no questions asked. Again, that's zbiotics.com/random, code RANDOM for 15% off. You know, there's a point in every man's life when he realizes, I deserve better underwear. Wow, truer words were never. Well, here's Wonder Balls. Let me not tip it. A men's underwear brand engineered for performance, built for all-day comfort, and crafted with men's health in mind. Whether it's a hard, get it, workout, a long shift, or a laid-back weekend, Wonder Balls moves with you and keeps you comfortable all day. You guys know what I'm talking about. And get this, they're certified toxin-free. Well, I hope so, but they are. Because the last thing you want touching your balls is something synthetic, let alone toxic. They use Peruvian Prima cotton and Austrian modal, which sounds fancy, but it's just really soft fabric. You have no idea how soft these things are. I'm holding them, as you can see, and I can, oh, wow, that is nice. And I can see that you see these things feel amazing. Breathable, moisture-wicking, tagless, no itching, no swampy situations. I don't usually ask my producers about their underwear because of legalities and such. Personally, there are other reasons why I don't, but okay. But now that I know that you're wearing Wonder Balls, I trust that they are in good hands. So if you care about what's holding your most prized possessions, it's time to experience the wonder. With 4 styles and a toxin-free ultra-soft design, your boys will thank you. Go to wonderballsusa.com and use code RANDOM for 30% off your first purchase. Shipping is always free. That's code RANDOM at wonderballsusa.com for 30% off. Isn't it time you feel wonderful where it counts? But but just on the Israel tip, I mean, yes, people who can't give it up, people who can't accept an apology. In the peak woke period, it was one of the things that was so obnoxious about it was that people would be forced to apologize half the time for bullshit, like Halloween costume level bullshit, and then the apology itself.
It was not good enough.
Was attacked.
Right. The apology's not good enough.
Never good enough.
No. He didn't. Did he mean when he said, I sincerely apologize? Was he sincere when he said, I'm sincerely apologizing?
It was so Soviet, like you had to literally do what they did in the Soviet Union. I would like to thank my accusers for pointing out what a piece of shit I am. I will do better and you just want to for the people who wonder, why did you turn on the left? I didn't turn on the left. They became something, part of them became something gross, and I just commented on it like I comment on everything. I just didn't ignore it like these other people do. I didn't change how I felt about the right and the horrible things they were doing, but I just, that kind of behave, that kind of like moralistic, smug,
It's fucking ridiculous.
petty bullshit.
It makes me sick.
The bitches and snitches
Yeah.
culture, the people who hate the bullying so much but
Yeah.
wind up being the biggest bullies.
Yeah.
There's something viscerally about that.
Yeah.
That's almost more aggravating
Yes.
than the stuff that I know intellectually is more dangerous on the right.
Yes.
But this kind of stuff, it just makes you want to.
Yeah. They need to start sticking motherfuckers back in the lockers. That's they got to start doing that.
It's such mean girl.
It's terrible.
It's just yeah.
To judge the apology, to analyze the apology isn't good enough. You can't breathe, and it's so bad. It's so fucking bad, and you know, I mean, I think apologizing, changing, growth, all that shit is good.
Yeah.
It should be commended, not.
I had Van Jones on the last show
Right,
you did.
that was-
I just found out the other day, somebody said,
Oh, he's been getting ripped for that.
I didn't even realize it. That's, I guess.
Do you watch the show?
I watched
No,
the
I'm
show,
teasing.
but see, that's the thing. No one cared at the time, and I've been through these
At the
scandals.
moment.
Right. When I got canceled off ABC for what I said about the terrorists, nobody cared at the time, and nobody cared at the time or in the audience what Van said. It's just these people afterwards who live. Well, they live to find something.
Well, your show Saturday is the day to like Saturday. You know, like with the sports, you go ESPN, you watch the highlights. Saturday's to get the reaction on Twitter.
Well, of course, people do see it on Friday also because it's on. But
I'm saying the reaction.
Well,
like the blow. You're trending on Twitter every Saturday morning.
What I'm saying is good. What I'm saying is that people, there are certain people, the kind we don't like, bro, who just live to find something. I always call them is this something people? Is it, Van Jones said, and he was making a joke which was not in any way an expense or mocking the dead in Gaza. It was a comment on social media. And of course, you can purposely misinterpret. That's what happened to me when I said, we have been the cowards. These people who attacked the building, they're not cowards.
Right.
Which is technically true, and certain conservatives like Rush Limbaugh defended it. He said, Bill's right. You know what? They stayed with the suicide mission. They're not cowards.
Right.
We're lobbing cruise missiles from 1,000 miles away. You can pretend that I was criticizing the military, which is what they did, but they know better. That's called bad faith. And that's what they just did with Van. Bad faith. You know that's not what he meant.
Yeah.
You know it's not at their, but doesn't matter. You can get the other useful idiots to believe it, and they do. And so I think he did have to apologize or something. But I mean, if I do something really terrible, I will apologize. And I'm a fan of apologies. It's a sign of growth and bigness and lots of other good things, but not for bullshit.
I agree.
If anybody comes after me for that kind of stuff, and I just you have to say you're sorry, and it's that level stupid, I'm just going to go, nope, you know what? I've had 33 years on television. If this is what you want to throw me out for, fine.
Right.
I don't need any more money.
Right. That's good.
And I'm gonna quote Michael Corleone in Godfather 2 when Senator, you can have my answer now. My offer is this: nothing, not even the price of the gaming license, which I'd appreciate if you would put up personally.
You pay for it, motherfucker.
I'll just say that and let that. They'll be like, what does that have to do? And then beside 2 seconds, somebody will be like, no, that was from The Godfather.
Right, and the guy will be back. That's a good way to go out.
Yeah, that is a good way to go out. Yeah. Because when I was canceled.
Did you ever have Diane Keaton on?
No, but I would have loved to.
The late great.
What happened there? We don't know, huh?
I don't know.
She kept talk about packing a tight suitcase. No one. That's so like her.
Yes.
Classy. Like, I'm not going to burden anybody with it. One day they're just going to open the paper and I'll be dead. And nobody will have. I won't have to endure their stupid pity that doesn't help. I won't have to endure their. Because I wouldn't want that either. If I'm on my way out, I just. Let's just not talk about it.
Right.
Unless you have an actual solution.
Right.
But, I hope you I don't give a shit about what you hope.
Right.
You know, hope is just like the cheapest word. As soon as you get people like they write you you know, an email or a text or even an old phone message. Hey, I hope you're doing okay. I'm like, yeah. Let's just assume that's your position.
Right.
Why you don't have to tell me this and
Right.
leave it on my phone machine.
Right.
Let's just assume
Right.
that. At all times, because you're a friend,
Right.
you hope I'm doing okay.
Right,
If
right,
that
right,
changes
right, right,
and you hope I don't,
Right.
leave that on
Let
my
me,
machine.
let me know when you hope I'm not doing well.
And otherwise, it means really nothing
Right,
to me.
right.
You know?
Right.
I hope I never get a message like this again
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
just wasted 30
That's
seconds
funny.
of my life.
That's
it's
funny.
true, but, you know. But she just was like, no, I'm not going to burden a soul, and you'll just find out when you find out.
79 is young.
That's class. How old
79.
is young?
To pass of like a health issue, I think.
It's not actuarially.
Well, it's not young. It's like my father's 93.
Okay, but that's not actuarially the norm.
What is the norm?
79.
Is that's
I
it?
think that's
All
exact.
right.
I'm feeling that is almost the exact age, and it's different for women and men. Women live longer.
So 79's young.
No, 70.
Especially when you have when you have
70
resources. Like, you know, she obviously has resources to die. So I just feel like 79 is like it's young to pass.
It's all genes, bro.
I know.
Not all, but like obviously how you treat yourself, whether you stay away from drugs, kids, don't ever do that. But
Right. Listen to Bill.
But it's a look. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Why some people live and some people die and some people die young and some people get Parkinson's and some people don't. And I mean, it's just you are always walking between the raindrops.
I know.
You are always walking between the raindrops.
I know.
And all you can do is play the odds. You know, I look forward to these days so much, not just because I can talk to somebody like you who I normally wouldn't, and I'm having such a good time doing it, but because it's the one day I let myself have a drink.
Oh, really? Just when you're doing the show?
Basically, yeah. So it's like I'm like Pavlov's dog now. Like it's like
Book somebody.
Yeah.
We need to do a club random. Like, how many of them do you do a week?
One.
Just one a week.
Just one.
Then
Just- this
but if
is
you
it.
start doing two drinks a week.
Well, I might have 2 drinks during one taping, but that's it. The only time I didn't ever even think about it otherwise. You know, it's just not. Whereas used to, you know, when I was, I don't know, even 40, even 50, you know, I would have, you know, I don't know, probably at least a couple of dozen drinks a week, you know, because I would go out. When you go out, you drink.
Right.
Do you go out? You're married.
I'm married, and I've never
know-
been the go-outer. And, you know, like, I'm like,
Never?
not like heavy duty. Like, you know, when I was younger, obviously, you know, 20s, 30s, go out. But it wasn't like all the time. Like, it would be like, if I did one night, maybe 2 nights a week, that's like a lot. It's never been my...
And what
My
kind of
thing.
were you a guy who always wanted to like have a serious girlfriend? Or were you like a player?
Well, when I was young, I wanted to have a serious girlfriend, and then I was like, oh shit, like, you know, like, but then also like, you know,
No, oh shit, what?
like, you know, like once you have some pussy, you want more, like, you know, you know, but so it was, and also like I grew up in it was kind of like
What?
the more the merrier, like it was so much like a hip hop mentality. It's like, fuck bitches. That's how like the music was part of that. Like growing up in New York, like that was like part of like that.
And also you were a rising movie star.
In
You
my
know,
20s, yeah.
You know, you were in movies like what's the one where blood is gurgling out of Tyra Banks's face
Higher Learning.
and I still want to have sex with her. Yeah.
Higher learning.
Higher Learning.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
She's dying with the
Yeah.
it's like still hot.
But I was, you know, when I was like in my 20s out here and like, you know, getting famous, I sort of shunned away that thing, you know, and like actresses and all that stuff. Like I thought it was like I thought it was like not cool to fuck around with actresses. And now I regret it. But you know, like you think like, oh, I could have been with this person, I could have been with that person. Like in my 20s, and even, you know, when they were telling me that this was Drew Barrymore's old house, I
Yes.
remember being at a party on this property, and I remember like it was one of those nights where I was just like, I don't know. I thought I was like, like I was like, it was kind of like, I don't know. I just kind of looked. I didn't want to be like cliche like that. Now I'm like, oh, like I would love to be cliche like that.
Well,
but,
I mean, first of all, dating actresses is cool.
Yeah.
But like a lot of things that are cool, it's just not worth it.
right,
Because-
right.
I mean, I know, of course, that's a sweeping statement, and I'm sure there are many lovely, wonderful actresses who are not a pain in the ass. I never met any of them. I mean, and it's not their fault. They're actresses. That's what they are.
Right.
And therefore, first of all, they are often canceling because I got an audition tomorrow.
And you don't want to get
Or
in a relationship. She's in Spain shooting a movie.
Or
and-
she's in Spain shooting a movie with Timothy Chalamet, and then what?
That's rough, too.
That's exactly.
But the 90s was an easier time to move around
Move around.
with girls.
What do you mean?
Like if you were a player, you can move around. You can't do that now. I can't imagine being able like a
Why?
young
Because of social media.
social media and cameras and phones. Like you could skate around.
Right.
Like you could skate around LA easily, and you could skate around New York easily.
That's
you could skate
true.
around wherever you were on location
That's
easily.
true. When I was in the 90s, you're right. When I was dating like a slew of broads at once, I only had to worry about, and I never lied to anybody. That no one was under the illusion that they were my girlfriend. So like, but of course, people get close. Of
course.
You get close, and you just, what you mentally, intellectually know is not maybe what you feel. So all I would have to avoid was being literally seen at the same place
with the other girl.
with some other, another girl who I was dating. You're right. Now that would be almost impossible.
Impossible. Impossible, because even if somebody else doesn't film them, you might film yourself, or they might film, themselves, or who the hell fucking knows? Or, it could be there's like detectives on the internet. You could take a selfie and like, yo, that's so-and-so's arm in the back. And then like, yeah, that is, he's got a freckle on his hand. They figure out everything.
Oh, I was once, like at the beginning of a relationship, but it was...
With an actress?
No. It was starting to become, a real relationship, but it was still very new. And I was on the road, and I, very often when I was on the road, I stopped doing that. And finally this year, what great timing. I mean that, because who would want to be out there with all the political violence and crazy people? And it was just time. But, for years, and like, the show ends at 10 o'clock. What am I going to do? I'm not going to go to a bar. I wasn't drinking much anymore. And I don't want to be in a bar, really. I'm certainly not going to go to a club. I mean, it's too loud. I'm too old. Where am I going to go? I'm going to go to the strip club. Because it's not for anything. I've never done anything weird in a strip club. I don't want to. It's just a chill atmosphere. Yes, I like naked women.
Right.
And they're not prejudiced ever against men who are older.
Right.
Which, as most of society is.
Right.
So, I would go there.
Right.
So, why did I even bring that up?
Oh, because about the phones.
Oh, yeah. So, like, I'm like...
You can't go to a strip club now?
Well, I'm just saying, I can, but I'm just saying this is many years ago, and I was at the beginning of this relationship, apropos to what you said about, not being able to move around, and I went to after, like, I wasn't even thinking twice about it, and within 10 minutes after I walked into the strip club, she texted me and said, oh, I see you're at... So, like, it took 10 minutes for someone to drop a dime on me in some place public, Twitter, I guess, at the time, or whatever.
I would be horrified.
And like, yeah, so like, feel like you're that under surveillance.
Terrible.
I've never been that kind of man who, I'm not a short leash man. Let's put it that way.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how they do it. The athletes, they have some sort of underground railroad. No, that's for real. Like the NBA dudes, they have a system that they don't share.
You're right.
That works out. I don't know how the fuck they do it. I've heard some different things, but I heard there is an actual underground railroad of the NBA, NFL, and they move around and like they're getting passed through and everybody's moving and grooving because they're the only ones that, and even they get caught up in shit. But there's a system that they have in place that I don't know. I used to date a girl. I dated a girl that...
Why do you put quotes around date?
Because I dated a girl that was dating Michael Jordan.
Oh.
And she told me,
Well,
like, and I was just so
I
curious.
don't
Like,
think she was dating Michael Jordan.
well, that's why I said
I think-
quoting.
right,
Because
yes,
I
right.
was dating her in
Yeah,
the same way that
you were dating her, she was fucking him.
Yeah, well, no, I was
Okay.
dating her too. But
Yeah, I'm
anyway,
sure you were, but I'm just saying.
No, what I'm saying, but I was so curious, like, how do you get to the destination spot? Like, and she was like, you go in a hotel and then you go down and like, and it was
Right.
a whole like thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was like fascinated, and that was
Right.
in the 90s.
Right. Well, he was married. I mean, part of that is that. It's, you're trying to keep this,
Right.
that's part of it. But yes.
And I'm sure that wasn't the only girl that he was dating.
Oh, I know for a fact. I know for a fact it was not.
The only girl that he was dating?
No, I remember a girl I knew who I really was dating, somebody who was very, very dear to me to this day, and at the time, who she was offered to, and she was like, no, I know what that's going to be, because she was not that kind of girl. But she knew exactly, but they definitely were trying to get her to be in the company of Mr. Jordan. And yeah, I mean, he was a dog, let's be honest.
Oh, man.
I mean, but
It's Michael Jordan.
he's Michael Jordan. But it must have been, how did you feel going hard to the hole with someone who...
I took it as a challenge. I was young. I took it as a challenge. I'm gonna tell you something.
Well,
I'm gonna throw.
Let's hope they weren't playing by Jordan rules, because get that shit out of the lane. You come down the lane. With,
Well, I'm gonna tell you something true. This
no
is
layups.
the truth. No layups. This young girl, this young lady at the time, this is 30 years ago. She also dated Scottie Pippen. So
wow.
I was like, wow. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful girl. But I was very fascinated by the whole thing, because this was when they were in their prime.
Yeah.
They were playing. And I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's
Michael Jordan.
that's a flex for you.
Yeah. So I took it as a you wanted to show up. You wanted to do your best.
Boy, do you.
You got to show up.
You don't want to pass out any weak shit
No,
there.
no.
But-
She's with the goat. The fucking goat.
But dating Pippen and Jordan at the same time?
I think it was an overlap. And I don't think I think it was like it was like a one and done, and maybe a two and a couple of times with the other gentleman.
I'm not going to say every girl I ever was with is the Virgin Mary. That's certainly far from true. But that would bother me. Like, that would bother me.
Again, we were when I say dating, I mean like,
I understand. But even that.
anyway, yeah. But I always wanted to show and prove with this girl. But I was young. And
You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, oh sure, like rubbing spirulina and ghee on my head is gonna fix this. But Nutrafol is different. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. You can feel great about what you're putting into your body, since Nutrafol hair growth supplements are backed by peer-reviewed studies and NSF content certified, the gold standard in third-party certification for supplements. The best part, adding Nutrafol into your daily routine is simple. Purchased online, no prescription required, automated deliveries, and free shipping keep you on track. See no more excuses. Your hair deserves a comeback story. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code RANDOM. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code RANDOM. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code RANDOM. This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. You know, everyone's got a side hustle now. Back in the day, we just called that being unemployed. But if you're ready to put your idea into the world, then let's look into Squarespace. It's the all-in-one platform that helps you actually look like you know what you're doing online. Boy, do I need that. Whether you're launching a business, a podcast, or just need a digital shrine to your dog, Squarespace gives you everything. A domain, a gorgeous site, online payments, email campaigns, all in one place. And their design tools are next level. With Blueprint AI, you just tell it what you do, and it builds a professional website for you. Plus, the built-in analytics let you see who's visiting, when, and from where. So you know if your audience is real or just bots from Belarus. So if you've got a big idea, stop talking about it and actually make it real. Go to the squarespace.com/clubrandom for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the code CLUBRANDOM to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Because in 2025, if you don't exist online, you don't exist. Did you ever go out with any famous like starlets, like anyone we would know that would be like?
Nah, that's when I think about I think about kind of situations that were sort of put in front of me. I thought it was like not cool to go out with some of these girls that I could have went out with.
Same way. I could have gone out with some famous ladies, but I knew I couldn't be trusted to not go out with other ladies at the time. So it's one thing to go out with, this girl and then she sees you out. It's another thing if you go out with somebody famous and then there's a picture of you with another girl, because then that embarrasses the famous girl.
Yeah, that's
and I was
not
like,
good.
whoa, I cannot put Nicole Kidman through this. No, I'm kidding. It was not Nicole Kidman. That's a joke. But yeah. So I thought, better. The guy I always thought who did it right, and he was like not like the other guys in his league, was George Clooney. Because other people like Brad Pitt, he's with Jennifer Aniston, then he's with Angelina Jolie. Okay, he likes A-listers right on his level. Clooney was always, before he got married, it was always like the ring girl, the waitress from Vegas. Like, these are chicks I would go out with, and they were hot. It's like because you know what? When you're with somebody, we don't really care what your credits are. We just care if we're having a good time.
Exactly.
And a little humility, and a little, just old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Oh, we're just grooving.
He was a great stickman in his time, Clooney. Brad Pitt never leaned into his stickman prowess. He could have.
Pretty boys often don't.
Leonardo's he has a building in
That's
the
right.
Stickman Hall of Fame.
That's true.
But when you think about the great stickmen of all time, I mean, but Milton Berle was
Stickman.
But
Milton Berle.
Apparently,
Well, he had a big dick.
Apparently, he was a great coxman. You know who else is a great coxman? We go back to Stallone. You know who was a great stickman? Burgess Meredith. Sylvester Stallone, when I was doing Copland.
Come on, man. Burgess Meredith? I only know him as an old man.
I was asking him, because I'm a Rocky guy, I was asking him every single thing about Rocky, and he gave me every answer I wanted. And I was asking about what was Burgess like, because we would do lines. I would do Mickey lines, he would do Rocky lines. I would do Rocky lines, he would do Mickey lines. But I said, what was Burgess like? And he goes, he was a great stickman, right? And I said, huh? And he goes, Burgess Meredith was an incredible coxman. And I was like, oh, shit, and left it alone.
Stallone can write dialogue. He was right, of course, obviously, history shows, to hold out for doing that part himself. But I'm sure one of the reasons why he had the confidence was he knew that to write dialogue, like when Mickey says, you got hot, and he goes, yeah, I got hot, Mick, but I don't got no locker, do I? Because they'd thrown him out of the gym.
You don't got to tell me.
That is.
What about my prime, Mick?
That's great writing.
At least you had a prime.
That's great writing.
Great writing.
I got heart, but I don't have a lock.
Yeah.
So yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'd love to get him here.
Oh.
Do you know him? Talk to him.
You could get him.
I try.
No, you could get him.
I try.
He's talking now that he's older, and and he's not like. That would be great. And ask him, say, Michael Rapaport was
And
here.
I'm not, see, the problem is people think I want to talk about politics here. I don't. I want to talk about everything but. That's why I do this. I already have a show about politics.
when Stallone comes, ask him about Burgess Meredith being a coxman.
That's what I want to talk about.
That's the only thing you need to talk about. He told me Burgess Meredith was a great stick man.
I just want to have another reason to use the word stick man.
It's a
which
great
I've
word.
never used and never heard, but of course I love immediately.
And in the context of Burgess Meredith, like I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I don't remember Burgess Meredith's early career. Like a lot of people who I only came to know as actors when I was a kid and they were old, and then you'd find out, oh wow, Fred MacMurray had a career in movies. You know, like
beforehand.
I thought he was My Three Sons guy.
Right.
You know, like I didn't know.
Right.
Ernest Borgnine was in movies before McHale's Navy.
Right.
You know, and then you'd see them at some point later in your life, and you go, oh, I see. At some point they were like the hot. Fred MacMurray was the star of Double Indemnity.
Right.
You know, he wasn't always, you know, sweater guy.
That's how he got to be the sweater guy.
those 50s sitcoms, which I was too young to watch when they were really on, but I would see in reruns when I was a kid and you were sick from school, what they showed in the day were black and white reruns.
Crazy.
That's what I watched when I was sick, and I loved it. I loved being sick. You'd be in bed all day.
Yeah.
You eat as many cough drops as you wanted, which are like sugar candy.
Yeah. They're like gummy bears.
They're like gummy bears, and like the things we did with our kids, and we thought, oh, give him a lot of sugar when he's sick. It was the worst thing you could possibly do. Was have me just eating boxes and boxes of fucking cough drops.
Yeah.
But, you know, we learn, we grow. But the shows that I would watch, and it started like at 9 in the morning and did not stop until like 4 in the afternoon when the game shows came on. And it was just like the old Andy Griffith show.
I hated those black and white shows as a kid.
I loved them when I was sick. Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah.
And My Three Sons.
Yeah.
And I mean, the world that they depicted, first of all, completely white.
And if it was somebody came in with like a burglar or a stuttering
or the cop,
the
cop,
or a housekeeper or something
with one line, it's amazing.
It is crazy
but it's always amazing how bad everything was before it wasn't terribly bad. I was just watching this movie. It's really good. It's in French with Johnny Depp speaking in French. He plays King Louis, and it's about this mistress and so forth. And it's just like, you know, the people are starving and he's giving her these diamond necklaces and he lives in this giant palace. And it's like for centuries and centuries, we just let one person, we just said, you're king and you can get away with all this shit. And it's only because people allow another person to do it. And somehow this apparatus builds up around it and keeps it alive. And it goes on for centuries. That one guy can act like the world's biggest asshole. And it's got a whole support system of a cord. And the people put up with it. And it took like a millennium or more before the, you know, American Revolution.
It's crazy.
It's crazy what people will put themselves through. And put up with.
It's crazy.
It is.
You know who I want to find? Remember the woman when Trump won the first time? She was like, no. It was like an iconic. She was with her glasses.
Vaguely,
if Mondami wins, I'm gonna remake that video in New York.
Oh, that's funny.
Because that's how I'll feel. I'll feel like that bad.
Now, what will you say if he gets into office and says, look, the Palestinian thing is being settled. I'm now the mayor of New York. I don't want to talk about that anymore. So if you ask me any questions about Palestine, I'm the mayor of New York. I have feelings about it. I have opinions.
Great.
They're right.
You shouldn't talk about it.
Wouldn't that be a great thing to say? And then say, I got elected not because of what I think about Palestine. I got elected, although some of the useful idiots, of course, love him for it. I got elected because this city is not affordable. And then what if he, and of course everyone saying a lot of what he's proposing is impossible. Which I would, if I was a betting person, I would bet on that opinion. It's not really going to work to have grocery stores that are government run and free buses and freeze on housing rents, because capitalism, as bad as it is over and over again, we learn the same lesson. It's the worst system except for all the others. That would be my guess. What if he has success? What would you say?
I'd say fantastic.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm not like one of these people
Good.
that like,
Right.
especially at this point in my life, you know, like if he did, I want people to feel safe in New York City. You know, I want my wife to feel safe. My wife is a tough broad. She doesn't feel safe in Midtown Manhattan during the day.
Really?
Yeah. And my wife,
Really?
She's
like,
not.
You're like going out for lunch?
I'm not saying she's like fucking shaking in her boots, but my wife in the last 2 or 3 years has been groped in Times Square, has had a fucking shoe thrown at her, has been called the N-word, and got proposed to on the train by a homeless person, all between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. And when my wife got touched in the middle of the day coming out of a play, I'm not happy with that. And it was by like a homeless person. Like, I don't care that you're homeless. Don't touch my fucking wife. You know what I mean? And it bothered me so deeply that this happened to her and that she's got a shoe thrown at her.
Why a shoe?
Because a crazy person.
Just crazy.
Crazy. But when you touch my wife and my wife is violated, I get to thinking, I'm sorry that you're mentally ill. I'm sorry that whatever you're on and wherever got you to this place, but you're touching my wife at 3 p.m. on 47th and 6th. I want this person put the fuck away forever. Period. And there's other women in New York City that also feel uncomfortable and unsafe. And we're not talking about in the boroughs. I'm talking about in Midtown Manhattan and downtown Manhattan. It's not cool for women to feel uncomfortable during the daytime in the greatest city on earth. It's also not cool that under any circumstances you could touch a police officer, not be from this country, come out the next day and walk out of the court like fucking Tupac, like those guys did when they jumped, you know, like fucking giving the middle finger to photographers. Like, if you touch a policeman and you're not from the country, bye. Get the fuck out of here. Like, and I'm not one of these people who, I know the police are not perfect, but if you touch a policeman, you should be in prison, period. You shouldn't be able to walk out of jail going, fuck, you know, like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck. And this shit's been going on in New York City. But this thing with women not feeling comfortable in Manhattan during the day, not down with that shit. It really deeply bothered me that happened to my wife. And like I said, she's not some laissez-faire, you know, like head in the, she looks out for me when we're in the street. So like, I was like, nope. And I'm comfortable saying, put him under the fucking jail and he should never come out. Because God forbid he comes out and does something worse.
All right, first of all, it's policeman, not police, not policeman.
What did I say?
Because we're not 5.
Oh. That's
policeman. Yes, I agree. I mean, I'm not.
I love it.
I'm not arguing.
Oh, shit.
I'm not arguing with the basics of anything you've said.
I love it.
You know, go away forever. No, I mean, we still have to follow rational laws.
Yeah. Put him away forever. I don't want you on, because like the guy in North Carolina who stabbed the girl and he's been in and out of jail for 14 times.
Not forever. That guy, 14 times stabbing, yes.
I guarantee you the guy who touched my wife has been in jail at least 5 or 6 times.
Well, if he has, that's a different story. But groping is not going away forever. Going away forever is like, you know, murder. Okay.
I don't want him in my city touching people.
And what you're expressing is something that people feel that transcends party, I think, and politics. It's very hard for, you know, old school Democrats, liberals to, if they have the same feeling, still go to Trump because so much of what he does also bothers us on a very visceral level.
Yeah.
So I understand that. But, I mean, your feelings are all completely legitimate. My question to you is, if this guy bothered you so much, why don't you take care of it?
I wasn't there. What am I supposed to do?
Go find this guy. It's certainly what Bob Odenkirk would do. Okay. It's certainly what Charles Bronson used to do. I mean, find this fucking guy and take care of it, tough guy. If it bothers you so much that your wife got violated. No, I'm kidding.
No, I know. I
But-
know. It's just, you know, like I never. The subway is the subway. New York City subway system. I grew up on New York City subway system. I grew up taking the subway. You got to pay attention. It's not Disneyland. It's not the, you know, the Central Park Zoo. But people, like, it shouldn't be a
No,
thrill. Like, it
no.
shouldn't be a house of horrors.
It
It shouldn't be where, like, fucking.
right. No, it shouldn't.
And we're talking during the day. I don't know what's going on at night.
I mean, if
During
there's,
the day, it shouldn't be a house of horrors.
if there's one theme, I would think, and again, I don't really want to talk about politics too much, but of the Trump administration, especially this time, it's that on many issues, he has the right idea about straightening something out. Put it a different way. He has the right idea that something in this country needs straightening out. And I would put in that category, and I could mention lots of things, but let's just say a few. The border, obviously, was out of control. Elite universities were out of control with their ideological capture by just one side, and crime, and like feeling safe in cities. How he has handled this, I have lots of issues with. And that is important because a liberal democracy has to handle things in a certain way that keeps them a liberal democracy.
I agree.
And he does not seem to understand that part of the equation. But he's not wrong about identifying these areas. And since the population really doesn't have mostly, I think, the educational background, because we stopped educating people to understand that nuance between the way a liberal democracy is supposed to handle things, they're just going to be happy that he's handling them at all. And they are a primal scream, as your screed was. I fully feel your passion. It is so legitimate. It is so honest. It's not, there's no maudlin in your rant. You know, you never, I listened to that whole thing and I never got one moment of falseness out of it. Like you were like, you know, there are certain people, I don't want to mention names, like they love to like get out there on their soapbox and talk about the things that he's doing that are so terrible. And it's like, you know what? Life didn't just happen to you. And by the way, all these horrible things aren't happening to you personally.
No, they ain't happening to you.
You look a little phony doing that.
Yeah.
But you don't. You don't look phony at all. This is exactly how pissed off you are for a very good reason about what happened to the person who's closest to you.
Yeah.
You know, this is exactly how pissed off you are. There's no, I don't feel like you're padding it with any theatrics. I feel like that's exactly it. And that's why people like listening to you.
Well, thank you. I just try to, you know, I'm not a, you know, it's funny because I was thinking about like when I came on Politically Incorrect. And, you know, and I remember you would sort of egg me on, and you or the producer would be like, you know, she's this, and I didn't really kind of know. We would talk about more social themes. It wasn't deep diving politics.
Some nights it was.
For me, when I was on, it wasn't.
No.
Like, you know, like I would.
We had the purpose of the show. It was a design train wreck to have all sorts of people, people who have no idea what's going on, and the expert who does, and it was funny.
Yes. But like, you know, I've been so educated in politics and educated in the history of specifically the Middle East, and my opinions are they're new. A lot of this stuff is new to me, and there's so many great scholars and great thinkers and great talkers that I'm inspired by, and there's so many great. You know, they pontificate and that was a great thing. I don't try to do that. I try to just
right. No, you
like, you know, but I leave that for them.
Yes.
You know, I don't try to outsmart or anything. That's
no. You're working a different side of the street. That's valid.
Yeah, and it's genuine to me. And you know, that stuff in New York, and you know, when I asked other women about the comfort level, and they said no, I'm like, this is not okay. And Mayor and Zoran the Moron isn't our mayor yet. And I know it's gotten better, but it needs to continue to get better. And when he starts talking about, you know.
Well, it'll get worse under him because the cops.
Exactly.
I mean, he said terrible things about the cops.
Exactly.
And some of them are going to quit
Yep.
right off the bat.
Yep.
And some of them are going to, I mean, you know, the cop, look, I have been very honest about my cop opinions. I've been tough on them when I thought they deserved it. I also think it's a tough job that you can't live without them. So you're just going to have to get kind of real about the fact that it's never going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, yes, they shouldn't be racist, but I don't think that, you know, first of all, there's a lot of black cops. Second of all, some of the racist incidents happened from black cops.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a deeper problem with the police culture, not that racism isn't still part of the equation. But in general, you know, you do need the cops because civilization is a mile wide and an inch thick. And you lift off that just very top veneer and people are animals.
Straight up.
If you don't keep the shit to shoe level, it goes sideways real fast.
Yeah.
Real fast.
And he's talking about loosening these laws, and I'm not down with that shit.
If they're not, and the thing about the cops, again, I love them, and they do a job that, thank God, they're doing, but they are very sensitive. Like, when they get their feelings hurt, and I get it, you know, you're out there, and you sacrifice 2 marriages now because this job was what it was, and you know you come home and you know you need 3 drinks because it was a little nerve-wracking at times and whatever it was, and you see the dregs of life every day. You see the worst people. You don't see the best people.
No.
Nobody ever calls you to their porch to tell you how good the marriage is going.
And it's day after day after day after day after day.
So they get a little pissed off when we don't appreciate it. I totally get that. But when they do, you know, the blue flu, whatever they want to call it, like if you're going to incentivize them to not quite give 100% shit, okay, 100% of a shit, yeah, you're not going to like it.
Nope.
You know, you really are going to like a world where the police feel appreciated better.
Yeah.
Because protection is government's first priority.
And everybody wants to feel safe. There's no race, creed, color, people that don't want to feel safe. You could be in Williamsburg with your scribble scrabble tattoos and your fucking keffiyeh scarf. If something happens to you, you're running right to the police that you're protesting.
Mankind wasn't born with government. Government was invented.
Mm-hmm.
Why? As a trade-off for security. That's the primary and first job of government. It is why people gave up rights, gave up sovereignty. It is why serfs worked the land, so that when the barbarians came, they could get behind the castle walls. That was the trade-off. Now, government has expanded, and it should have expanded. It has expanded too much, but that's the basic thing. And if they can't do job one, making you feel safe, then they're useless. So, you know, maybe he'll...
I don't think this fucking guy, I think that one thing, he's not going to do that. I believe what these people say. I believe what he says. I've learned to not think these things are far-fetched. When somebody says something, you have to take them at face value.
Yeah.
And he's not crazy. He's not nuts.
No,
he's
smart.
very clear on what he wants to do. And he's very fucking smiley when he's doing any of it. It's all smiles.
He's a Nepo baby.
Yeah.
He's a rich kid.
Mama's boy.
Okay.
Father's a professor. Mother's a successful film director. I know his mother, Mira Nair.
You know his mother?
Yeah. Yeah.
You worked with her?
No, but I've met her. I met her at film festivals. Couldn't be
Really?
sweeter.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not a crime to be the child of well-to-do parents.
It's a little weird if you have well-to-do parents and you're living in a rent-stabilized apartment in Queens. That's weird. That's weird if you're doing that, especially when you're so for the people. He's living in a rent-stabilized apartment.
I'm not against anyone having a different way of life. I'm just against someone coming to places where we have this different way of life and then trying to turn it into this other way of life that you brought with you, I thought, to get away from that. I mean, that's what's going on in Britain right now. I don't know if you know what's going on in the UK, but the UK is undergoing something quite extraordinary, which is, you know, a sort of a cultural revolution where practices which we thought in the Western world were not to be tolerated are, because they don't want to have civic unrest between a large Muslim population that, not like this country, really very often did not assimilate.
Yep.
And in the name of like every multiculturalism and stuff like that, the left in Britain is kind of standing up for example, there's now a law about, well, it's okay to marry your cousin. Okay, it's different. I'll give it that. But you know, there are cities in Britain that, you know, I know Andrew Sullivan said last week, my grandparents wouldn't recognize as the city they grew up in.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to have immigration. We all are for immigration and we need it. But the idea of immigrants used to be melting pot. We're here and we're going to help. We're going to melt in. You know, we're here to be like you. That's why we came here. We like this thing you're doing. That's not always the attitude of today's immigrants.
No, I know.
And that's not a knock on immigrants. And I would say among the people who, like, that is not a problem with, as we know well in here in California, is our lovely Mexican immigrants. They're perfect immigrants. They do want to melt in. We do have a lot of the same values, you know, we're Christian, they're Christian, not that it's all about Christianity, but that's cultures are different.
Yes.
But I mean, they are the perfect immigrants. I mean, there's no, we haven't treated them all that well, and yet there's no seething, you don't sense, you know, any seethingness.
Yeah.
And they slowly are, just like every other immigrant did, my Irish ancestors, the Italians, the Jews, like everybody slowly making their way through, you know, everybody goes through it. First you do the lower level jobs, now you're the plumbers and the constructors, and then you're going to be the governor. You know? I mean, that's the Godfather. I thought it was your time.
Right.
You'll be Senator Corleone or governor. That's my life, and I don't apologize. And I refuse to dance on the end of strings held by big shots.
That's
right?
Marlon. That's good fucking Marlon right there.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
That was the Italian thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a gangster because I had to be.
Right.
But you're going to be a senator.
Right.
When your time comes, it's going to be different.
Right.
Because you volunteered when the war came.
Right.
That made Sonny very mad.
Right.
You don't risk your blood for your country, you only risk it for your family.
Right.
That's Pop talking.
Right.
Which it was. That was that generation.
Right.
But he's the new generation.
Right.
I'm not going to be in the mafia.
Right.
Well, that didn't work out so well.
No. No. Because once you try to get out, they pull you back in.
What do you think of Godfather 3? Not a necessary movie.
Not a necessary
Just an entertaining one, right?
Just
entertaining.
The great Sofia Coppola, who turned out to be a great director, and that whole thing. You know, there were a couple of moments in the film. Once you get out, they pull you back in, and the Andy Garcia.
Love that.
But it was it was very disappointing. I went day one, screening one. I remember it came out on Christmas, and I've watched it a couple of times since, and it still didn't age well. I'm not happy with it.
Well, I can't concur with that exactly. It's not a necessary movie because the cycle of Michael Corleone is completed at the end of 2. He kills his brother. Spoiler alert. Right? That's the full arc.
Yeah.
From the guy who says at the beginning, that's not me, Kay. That's my family. Speaking of Diane Keaton. Right? That's not me, Kay. That's my family. I don't do things like that. That's my father who said that to that band leader. All the way to, I will kill my own brother. That cycle is done.
Yeah.
This is just a money grab. And I
Yeah.
think they both admitted it.
Yeah.
And Pacino, too. I think they just knew. And so I went in with no expectations. It's not necessary. It's just to entertain me. And Andy Garcia was awesome as the bastard son. And that whole thing, and Joe Mantegna.
Yeah.
You know, Joey Zaza on the horn. You know, it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's stupid because the idea that Michael Corleone, of all people, would like get back with Kay, who aborted his child.
Yes.
You know, don't you know that is an impossibility? That I could never let that happen? Oh, Michael, you're so blind. You know,
You get Al on here?
he won't do it.
Al Pacino will do it. He's doing press. He's doing things.
He won't do
I think you could get him.
Oh, I know I can't.
Would you have a thing with him?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No beef. I just know him quite well.
Really?
Yeah.
But he does interviews now.
Not this one.
All right. I feel like there's something behind that.
Trust me, no. No, he just, you know, people have their. It reminds me of the way my mother wouldn't smoke pot at the end. You know, it would have solved all of her problems. When she was a widow, she needed to laugh more. She needed to put on weight. She needed new friends. Pot, and I couldn't get it because she just wasn't of that generation. And there's something that just Al Pacino is just like, this is just, I don't know, maybe it's the pod or I don't know, but it's just like there is a barrier there that
All right.
I know for a fact I can't get.
Because he loves talking about acting so much. And, you know, he'll talk about, you know, unlike De Niro, who hates talking about acting, hates it.
Him, I could probably get here. He did Real Time.
He'll talk about politics, but if you start asking about...
And he wants to talk about politics, yeah.
He'll talk about politics, which is amazing because he wouldn't speak for 40 years and Trump inspired him to speak, but it's only about that. It's not, you still, if you talked about Raging Bulls, you know, I do. Talking about Goodfellas, you know, I try.
I know.
But,
I know.
And everybody's tried.
Right.
It's just, it's just, I don't know if we'll ever get that interview about the process.
He was good on Real Time, but you know, that's 12 minutes.
Yes.
This, I mean, I would love to get him here because I could crack that nut open.
About acting.
About anything.
The acting is the thing, that's the thing we want to hear him talk about. He talked about his father, and you see the documentary he did about his father? Very vulnerable, very open. His father was a painter.
Right.
And he's talked about politics, and he's talked more about, you know, obviously lost his son, and that he talked about that he talks about New York, but as an actor, we've never gotten him to really talk about his process as an actor, and his process as an actor inspired all of us.
Well.
All of us.
Really?
He invented, he changed the game.
I think Marlon Brando changed the game.
Marlon Brando, to me, is Dr. J, and then Robert De Niro's Michael Jordan. So he took what Dr. J's sick, Dr. J changed the game. But when Michael Jordan took what Dr. J did and everybody else, now, Raging Bull is before, like, there's like...
What is that in a woman's term? Is that Elizabeth Taylor? Is that...
well, you could say...
Marilyn Monroe?
You know...
And then...
Jennifer Lopez changed the ass.
There we go. There we go.
There's before J-Lo.
You're right.
And there's after J-Lo.
Okay.
She brought the fat ass, and I say this with all due respect, to the mainstream.
Yes.
She changed the game. She inspired an entire world. Now it's out of control.
Yes, she lived in a world between black and white. And she... Right?
Yes.
That's why it was possible.
Yes.
She was like, I'm not really a black girl, so you don't have to be like,
Puerto Rican girls from the
what's
Bronx.
going on with me now? But I'm not really a white girl.
She's a Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx, which is a whole other thing.
It was very quick that changeover happened, where asses, when I was a kid, a big ass was the worst thing. The last thing you wanted to have. Does these pants make my ass look fat? That's what no woman
changed the whole game.
And then it was like, these pants better make my ass look fat. And I never went along with it because, you know, you dance with who you brung.
Yeah.
And like, I just know how I was raised, what I like. Like, I never liked it when it became the look in a strip club to have like fat people. You know,
fat people, fat ass is a different thing. J-Lo.
You're right. That is true. But
You know this, Bill.
I do know this.
You know
I'm
this.
just saying some people ignore that rule.
Yes.
So-
Well, now that's what I'm saying. Now it's gone, and now you got the BBLs and all that stuff. But back to De Niro, he took what Marlon Brando was doing. He took what Paul Newman was doing. He took what James Dean was doing. And he took it to another level. What De Niro was doing.
He's a great actor. I'm a huge fan. I mean, I'm just on me on Robert De Niro.
He's talking about acting though.
Yeah, and why would he? First of all, why would he give away his trade secrets? I wouldn't. That's one. And two, it's boring to talk about it. He's right. It is.
I don't think so, because some great actors, when they talk about it, it's fascinating.
To you, because you're an actor. Because you're an
actor. But like, if you hear, like, there's some of them that love talking about it.
Like what?
Let me see. Like
what would it be interesting to know about how they?
Like when Al Pacino talks about acting. And
give me one thing.
Oh, he's just. It's like a musician, like the Billy Joel documentary. You saw that?
I interviewed him on this show.
So when he's talking about how he came up with New York State of Mind, right? And he's talking about like when you get that, certain actors talk about it. Like Benicio del Toro's great at talking about acting. Sean Penn not great talking about acting. But I'm talking about like the process. It's like if you talk about Tom Brady reading defenses. Even if you're not a football fan, you can appreciate.
I see. Yeah.
So for one of the people that did it at the highest level, for him to break down the process, I think it's relatable even if you're not an actor.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like that's more apropos in music, as you say. Like we all want to know what inspired that song, and certainly with the Billy Joel one, I remember talking to him a lot about the fact that. Seeing the documentary put color on what formerly was a black and white drawing. And now I know that, that was because that was what this was going on in your life.
Right.
And that's why you wrote Stop in Nevada.
Right.
Because you were stopping in Nevada and you were with the wife and blah, blah, blah. That is interesting to me as a music fan. I don't know if that...
When Stallone was doing it in the Stallone documentary about Rocky, he was talking about, what about my prime, Mick? At least you had a prime. And he said they did it in one take. And he's talking about
it's true.
Everything that was going on with my father. And it's like, what about me, Dad? What we think about? And when you hear him talk about it 50 years later, it's like, oh, shit.
Right.
Because, acting, when you're in front of a camera, you're doing take 7, 8, 9, 10. And you might do that one take that is the take that makes it. And for me as an actor, like, I know the things that get me there, or the things that don't get me there. And when you talk about somebody like De Niro that's had so many iconic moments, like people are fascinated with you talking to me, and they've talked about that story. Scorsese's talked about that story. But De Niro, there's been so many of them. I would love to have access to just those questions and be like, do you remember this specific moment? And because he's given us so much on screen.
When you are doing a scene, do you have a good feeling which take they're going to use because you felt like, that was the one, and if they don't use that one, I will be disappointed?
Now I do. When you're younger, you don't even think you have the confidence to say anything or talk about it, or, when I was younger, you just kind of just doing it. But, sometimes when I'm acting now, they would cut, I'm like, that was a good one. You could say it, it's like you have to, you have a better understanding. And what they do in the editing room, unless you're like the big guys, you could go in there and be like, no, this take is this, if you have access to it. Like, I'm sure.
Very few do.
Well, like the meat and potato guy, like De Niro and Scorsese, he won't even need to because he trusts him.
Correct.
But I'm sure DiCaprio, well, he's with the best of the best directors, so you don't need to. Quentin Tarantino knows the best.
Yeah, director. I don't care who the star is. The director does not want the actor in the editing room looking over their shoulder. That doesn't happen. I don't care who the fucking actor is.
And Quentin Tarantino doesn't need that. Woody Allen doesn't need that.
You just had look.
Scorsese doesn't need that.
It's a director's medium. You either trust them or you don't. And when you sign on, you do.
Yeah.
That's their canvas.
Yes,
they're
100%.
They're gonna do it as they see fit. You have no say in it.
And top tier guys, they
all you can do is hope they use the take you think is the good take.
Yeah.
And they may not.
Yeah.
Or they may cut the whole scene.
Yeah.
or they may keep it on. They may have you hear you, and the camera's on the other actor.
Yeah.
You know, there's just you are throwing fortune to the wind.
100%.
Yeah.
But those
that's
top tier guys that those people work with all the time and
Yes,
only,
of course.
there's no experimenting with like some.
No.
So you could give them everything and they're going to use the best shit anyway.
But they need to stop, because I got to say that last, and I'm a huge Scorsese fan.
I know,
DiCaprio. What?
I know where you're going to go.
Where?
The Irishman.
No. I like that, but it was too long. But no, the last one, the we're killing Indians. Too much.
Yes.
I mean, that wasn't the exact title, but that was the gist of it. We're killing.
AKA we're killing Indians.
We're killing Indians a lot out here in the wherever, and like DiCaprio is playing a guy who comes home from the war. He's 50. What was he, a general?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
coming home from the war.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, you got to let it go. Get the next guy. I guess
I
it's
agree.
Chalamet is Scorsese will work with till he's 100.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, DiCaprio replaced De Niro.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's a young man's game.
Yeah.
You know, or at least for those kind of roles.
The Irishman killed me.
Because they de-aged them. Yeah.
It killed me.
Their face looked young, but they still moved like the crip.
It was crazy. The faces looked crazy. And we know what De Niro looked like when he was 30. He don't look like this. He don't look CGI'd. You know, like, we know the dimple, we know the face, we know what Joe Pesci. You should get Joe on this fucking show.
I love Joe on. Sure.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I love Joe Pesci.
He's never given he gave one.
He seems like he's very shy. I've met him. He seemed very shy, really nice, but like shy. And not at all the guy who stabs you in the neck with a pen.
But I think if you talked about acting, and golf and shit like that, but acting, I think, because his career, I mean, Joe Pesci had
such a scary guy.
In the movies.
Like in movies. Like, it's amazing the way a guy who's all of like 5'5" could be that scary on screen. And he is like, you really think he's gonna stab you in the neck?
100% in real life. Because the impression is so deep.
It's amazing.
Yeah. He is kind of shy.
He never kind of got his due. Because he kind of played the same, I mean, in Casino, he's the same guy he was in.
A Lethal Weapon 2.
What's the one with
Home Alone? Yeah, he's Joe is the fucking man. He's another one.
Yeah.
I love him. Love him.
Well, I'm gonna have you connect me
with Joe
to all these people.
Yeah.
You're the connector.
Come on, man. Joe would be. You get Joe and Bob. Come on, man. Let's fucking build this shit up. We get 2 seats here. Joe and fucking Bob. Get Joe, Bob, and Al.
But it was great to see you.
It's great to see you. I appreciate you having me.
Say hi to Mark and Joanna.
I will, of course.
You talk to them all the time?
Of course, yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
And how often are you out here?
You know, I moved back to New York full time.
I know you.
So,
believe me, we know you're in New York. We know that.